Welcome. Another Discourse Friday. Today, we're talking about Striketober. Excuse the noise of the cars or stuff. I'm just in a park on the side. Had some technical difficulties, so a few minutes late, but no worries. Striketober. Hashtags are fun, right? Makes it easy to talk about a subject, bring things to light. But what's the essence of this Striketober? With the course of the pandemic, we've realized what's truly important in the context of work. All these office jobs went poof or worked from home, and a lot of the things that weren't dismissible were these low-wage jobs. These jobs such as grocery clerks, such as delivery drivers, schools, right? We saw the importance of what truly was needed for change, for the world to go round. Kind of question what isn't, what's not that important. Is having a six-figure income as a marketing director as valuable as having a teacher for a community? Is having somebody stock the grocery store less equitable to have versus somebody who's a CEO of a company? And the amazing thing is how the media is portraying it, a lot of this stuff. They're portraying this sense of labor shortage, right? And the numbers are showing and indicating that's not the case. What the numbers are showing and indicating is how the numbers are there. There's people out there who can work, but now are not taking these jobs. They're not taking these opportunities because they pay so little, because they offer no benefits. They can't solicit safety in the context of COVID. We've had a lot of individuals not go back to work, not because, they're lazy. It's, they care more about their livelihood than the measly $10, $7, $8 an hour. It's not worth their lives to be exposed to the public who, for some reason, does not want to get vaccinated, for various means. Indicating further a continual process of adaptation for the virus to then affect us with or without a vaccine. And worse, without. That's the topic for past videos. And most likely a topic for a future day as well. But here we are in St. Louis, and you can see these buildings, these high-rises. Behind me is, back there is Busch Stadium, where the St. Louis Cardinals play. How valuable are these spaces, are these places of work in comparison to your local grocery store, in comparison to your local school, in comparison to your local, to your truck drivers, right? Your delivery drivers. We saw how once everything went online, Amazon boomed in this pandemic. They're making so much money. Their stocks are through the roof, and they continue to rise because having things delivered straight to your home allows you to not interact and interface face-to-face with people, projecting the continual flow of this virus, right? So we're starting to see kind of this transcendence of what's important, and also this transcendence of people's importance in work. A lot of people who have resigned, and I know they're calling this time period right now, like the largest amount of people quitting their jobs, and a lot of it's to just pursue their passions. We see clearly, especially in this last year, how short life can be. You're having so many people pass away. Over 700,000 people die just from this virus, and that's just the virus. That's not even including all the other reasons people die, right? So all your life you're told to pursue your passions, and a lot of people fall flat on that and just gotta put food on the table. But now we see how intricate it is and how easy it is for food to be taken off your table, for you to lose your job, for you to be deemed a non-essential employee. And the senses of being non-essential can create a dichotomy in one's thought process, creating a more elusive idea of what you want to do with your life. Is it important to go work your 40 hours at McDonald's when you are a musician? Is it important to go work your 20-hour a week as a substitute teacher when, you know, you love doing murals or art? Why not pursue these passions, pursue these business ventures, you know? A lot of reflection happened in 2020, and especially in 2021 as things start to reopen. People start asking themselves, what is it I want to do with my life? And a big conclusion is not be where I'm at for the rest of it. And I feel like we can all agree to that, you know? We often have these reflections in life, especially at crossroads. 2020 proved to be a gigantic crossroad for just about everyone. And ultimately, where does that leave us? I know I do listen to a lot of Mr. Reich, the old Secretary of Labor, and he puts up a good point. People are having it with these low means jobs that don't pay. And I think the unique thing, again, with perspective, is I've been traveling across this country throughout the pandemic. I know. I've been safe though, wearing a mask. I got vaxxed, you know. But I've noticed so many "we are hiring" signs. I passed by a McDonald's over in Ohio. It was paying $17 an hour to work at McDonald's. Remember how people were against the protests from these McDonald's workers who were arguing for the fight for $15 an hour, how they don't deserve it? But you do remember during the pandemic, your school closed or your office closed. McDonald's didn't. Burger King didn't. These fast food joints didn't, because they're food service. They have to keep working, because for some people in the food desert of this country that we live in, that's their closest thing to a good cooked meal for affordable price. Now that's sad, right? But that's the reality. That's the reality we face when so much is limited. Now, we are even having some labor disputes with like proper procedures, like respect. You know, we're having the Netflix workers walk out over the controversy around Dave Chappelle, right? We're having other businesses where people are just calling out the stuff that's not right, not being fed up with the way things were, because that's not how they should be. And I think the beautiful thing with labor is the numbers show what's important. The numbers show you where we should be putting our investments into. Should we have 50 million car salesmen? Or should we have 50 million grocery store options? One on every corner, so everyone can have local food, fresh food. Instead, even further, like instead of having a grocery store, imagine having a local farm, right? And it's interesting too. I think one reflection I had, I was passing through Little Rock, not Little Rock, Hot Springs, Arkansas, and the farmers market in the midst of COVID was operational. Why? Because it's outside. You know, the tents were spread out more, but it's still going. Maybe this consensus of being inside, being in these buildings, being where the lights, like Las Vegas, you know, just everywhere. Maybe it's time we start looking at these things differently. And I pose these questions or these thoughts for y'all to think about, for y'all to have discussions with back at home, to have discussions in your own groups with your friends, your family. And I think the amazing thing that we gather is we know what's important. Teachers are important. Nurses are important. Doctors are important. CEOs, not so much. Even government workers, not so much, right? As a government worker. The amusement park workers, what's more important? Them or the person who works at McDonald's? And now we have these strikers, even in a Jack in the Box over in California. They're freaking chuckling, but it's like, how dare you? Like, their managers threatening to call ICE on them because they want to unionize, because they want better environment to work in. I've met families who work all day at fast food restaurants, and it's not easy work. It's difficult dealing with the public because people can be assholes. And the toughest thing is, like, they'll do these jobs to support their kids so that they can pursue their futures. That even goes back to what I was saying like a few minutes ago as well. With all the realities that are happening, we're realizing how short life is. We want to pursue our passions. We want to spend more time to the things we love. Rather have more time dedicated to that than this job that I'm never going to get a raise in, than this job that I don't feel appreciated in, than this job where constant harassment, or don't feel safe. Taking these risks is back-breaking labor. Why go back after companies shut down and everything shut down? Why would I want to go back after having like my first vacation in forever? I had people who I knew who, like, during COVID, because everything was shut down, took vacations and just traveled, right? The worst time to do it. Like, how dare you? But the reality is, while working, they never have the time to. So it makes sense. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself, why do you have a job that you don't take vacations in? That you don't plan in enjoyment? How is that not part of the job? That's the point of PTO, paid time off. You earn that accurately, occurringly as you're working, so that you can take days off. You can take time off to just enjoy. We can't work 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. We can't do it. It's mind-numbing. It's exhausting. And the longer you work, the longer you do this stuff, the more errors can occur. You're falling asleep, you could crash your car and die. You stop being situationally aware, something can happen to you on your way home or on your way to work or even at work. And how many cases of workers' comp or cases of these things do we need to see? And I feel like it's a turning point. This whole context of Striketober, it's a good one to a degree, because we're also going to realize, not everyone can own a business. Not everyone can be the first inventor of XYZ. And I think that's an interesting take as well. And I've had conversations with people in the past, like, no job is unimportant. There's value in every job. But I think one thing that falls short is that we start comparing jobs and importance of jobs. I remember I worked at Forever 21, and that was probably the best and worst work experience ever. I loved my coworkers. We got along so well, for the most part, for most of us. And we felt like really we had to have each other's back to make that store run efficiently. I was on the floor, and then I worked in stock, and I got to see how the whole store worked, And I got it. If the stock employees are goofing off and not getting the product ready, when you're on the floor, we don't got it. Can you check in the back? I don't know how the system works. It's probably in a buy. It becomes so integrated because each job has a team. You have to work with your team and work together. And it's hard. It gets harder and harder and harder as time persists. But the important thing is that you have to work together to get the job done right. And a lot of that stuff gets missed by managers and missed by corporate and missed by people who aren't on the ground. I worked at a restaurant where managers screwed us up big time. Like, we had no food available. Like, it was chaotic. And we came together as a team and knocked it out of the park. And we were exhausted. Did we get a raise or anything that day? No. We all went to the bar afterwards and took shots. But now here we are in the midst of the pandemic, turning a corner, I'd say. Not at the end of it, though. And people are realizing, I'm not going to sacrifice my life for this job. I'm not going to sacrifice my time that I don't know how much more I have left. I am going to do what's best for me and live my life. If I'm going to work here, here's my demands. And if you don't like it, find somebody else. Because we're all in this together. And we're all sick of it. We're all tired of being abused and being told we're replaceable. Because as we're noticing, with all these hiring signs and not a lot of people taking these jobs, not as replaceable as you think. So have more, as a employer, have more appreciation for your staff. As a manager, have more appreciation for your team. As a company, have systems in place that make people want to be there. And I've seen the meme before too. It's like people don't leave jobs; they leave managers. They leave people, you know. And I can attest to that too. I've had jobs where like manager was terrible, so I quit. You know. I also had jobs where I just could not get a raise. I could not make a living wage, so I left. To jobs where I made less money, but I had the potential to make more. You know. And that's the thing too. You can't be afraid to quit your job and put yourself first. You know, it gets harder with more responsibility if you're taking care of your family, if you have kids, if you have financial commitments that the job satisfies, maybe partially or entirely, or you know. But we gotta change this work culture, and I think the beautiful thing with Striketober, and I hope it ends this way, or changes in this context, is let's establish a different work regimen. Let's establish a great change like we saw back. With the wage riot, or I'm blanking on the name of those riots, like Watts and stuff, like these time frames in life where people just, you know, didn't go to work, don't cross that picket line, demanded change, demanded a seat at the table, you know, because we got to change this labor, because it's not good, it's not healthy for this environment. Capitalism is not sustainable. So, talk about it. Think about it. Be the change.